Hey y'all, and welcome back to the show. Thank you so much for being here. Today I am sitting down with my new friend Niki Gedroic, the owner of Vertigo and Smoke in Columbus, Georgia. So thank you so much for being on here with me today.
It's an honor. Thank you.
Thank you. So what kind of got you into the restaurant business?
I worked at a local credit card processor for the last 24 years, and one day I found myself laid off, and the opportunity presented itself, and I had been catering on the side, so I took advantage of that and got into the restaurant business. I'm no longer with that restaurant anymore, but it led me into the purchase of Smoke Bourbon and BBQ on Broadway and Vertigo on 12th.
Okay. Do you mind telling me a little bit about the catering business? How is that, and does that go into your restaurants at all?
We do cater, yes. So I learned how to cater by doing that. I did some weddings, and it started with a friend of mine named Fahed, who I would bring brownies or dinner or whatever into work, and he asked me if I would make lunch for him and offered to pay me, which turned into 40 or 50 lunches twice a week for people in the building, which then in turn turned into catering outside. And so I decided when I walked out the door at the company I was working at that I would start a food truck, and then the food truck turned into a restaurant. So
Girl, so your food's just killing it across the board, basically. Will you tell me, let's start with Smoke, and then we'll go, because I want to have more conversation about Vertigo. But for those who haven't been, can you describe the atmosphere or the types of food that people would get if they come visit you at Smoke?
At Smoke Bourbon and BBQ, it's a rustic, upscale barbecue restaurant where you can get everything from just your plain Jane common barbecue sandwich where we smoke the meat in-house, all the way up to a brisket gnocchi dish with gold barbecue sauce. And it's just something, I like to think of it as 21st century barbecue.
Okay.
So it's not your mama's barbecue.
Now, tell me a little bit about Vertigo Fusion and how it's changed.
When I purchased Vertigo Fusion Kitchen, the restaurant had a little bit of a confusing concept. Mm-hmm. You heard the word vertigo and you think about all of the optical illusions and spinning, and if anyone has been into the restaurant, you think of the bathrooms. Mm-hmm. We've got to be the most photographed bathroom on the face of the earth. And then you walk through the door and there was this stunning Day of the Dead mural on the wall. Mm-hmm. And so your initial thought was, okay, I get it. It is a Mexican restaurant. And then you sit down and the menu is covered in bulgogi and curry and those kind of things. I purchased the restaurant because I loved the concept. Mm-hmm. I loved the mural on the wall. I honestly thought it was the best bulgogi I had ever tasted. The issue was we came to find that nobody came, but maybe every 6 months, every 8 months. I have people who even after we've changed the concept 8 months ago are walking in and going, oh, the menu changed. So it was something that you did rarely. And you can't build a restaurant on that unless you're serving plates that are cost $100.
Yeah.
So restaurants in town like Epic, that's something you do on a special occasion. A restaurant with $10 tacos, you can't do.
Yeah.
So we felt like if we made the menu something that people came back for, if we put televisions on the wall, we would attract more clientele, and it worked. So we did grow our audience significantly. Of course, we got a lot of pushback because we painted over the mural, but in exchange, we put 7 canvases on the wall of a local artist. She's a CSU student. She was working for me as a bartender, and she painted 7 canvases for us. Wow. Also, Charlie Wyndham, a local photographer. We have his photographs on the wall. We're really leaning into the idea of Vertigo and the idea of local.
Okay.
So we want to support local artists. On the weekends, we bring in local artists, musicians who are trying to, get their footing in Columbus. We buy as much product as we can locally. We support local visual artists, and that's where we're going. And it's helped, but local restaurants are struggling right now, all of them.
Absolutely. So what's your thought process? What do you think can get these really going again?
Well, the first step is to get across the importance of shopping local, eating local, drinking local, choosing local over chains. Mm-hmm. Chains have an advantage. It's kind of like shopping at Walmart versus Joe's Pharmacy next door. Mm-hmm. Band-Aids. Joe can put order 10 boxes of Band-Aids a week, so he has to charge $5. Walmart, as a chain, can purchase 7 million boxes and distribute them among all of their locations, so they can charge $2 for them. Mm-hmm. And so that's a struggle. And with the economy being what it is, the struggle's real, because some people are going to have to pay, $2 versus $5 to support Joe.
Yeah.
So
that's okay. So I'm in a point where every day I'm out having conversations with local business owners, and one common thread amongst them, though, is also that local business owners even aren't supporting other local businesses. And I see that you definitely are. I don't necessarily want you to say anything that would make you uncomfortable about that, but do you have a thought process behind that? Do you have anything? Do you agree with that? Are you seeing it?
I agree to some extent. Mm-hmm. I hope with all my heart that local businesses understand the importance of, look, I don't eat every single meal in a local restaurant. Mm-hmm. I would say we're about 95%. Mm-hmm. We go out sometimes with people who just really want to eat at a certain restaurant. Mm-hmm. We have a rule. If we go out of town, which, has been a while, but if it's in Columbus, we don't eat it. We support mom and pops wherever we go.
Yeah.
I try to shop at Piggly Wiggly because I know the owner is local and, a guy who lives here. Do I buy everything at Piggly Wiggly? No. But I make an effort to shop at Piggly Wiggly. Yeah. We try to buy everything local, and even keep in mind when we make large purchases that we can't even maybe purchase local. Mm-hmm. We look for things that are made in the USA.
Yeah.
So, even that, it's important to us, and we make it a priority. And I would hope that every local business understands that when you put your money into a mom and pop, whether it be Joe's Pharmacy, the Piggly Wiggly, or Vertigo on 12th, you are putting your money back into your community versus sending it off to New Jersey or California or some, large corporation in Minneapolis. Mm-hmm. You're putting money in local servers' pockets. You're putting money in the local. When we purchase from Tumbleweed, when we purchase our produce from Tumbleweed, a local vendor, then that money stays in the community. When I choose a local artist, that money stays in our community. They in turn go and hopefully spend their money locally.
Yeah.
So, and we're not supporting some large faceless conglomerate.
Yeah. Now, I still call it downtown. I know I should be calling it uptown, so I'll say uptown. But there's so much hustle and bustle. There's so many things down there now. So if somebody is going to the River Center, or they're going to the Uptown Concert Series, or they're going to the Springer Opera House right near you, what can they just stop in, just have a couple of drinks? Do you guys support those
We
arts?
do. We love that. This brings up another very kind of heated topic for Uptown, which is the open container law. Mm-hmm. Right now, the local businesses would like to establish Uptown as an entertainment district, which would allow you from the hours of 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. to carry a beverage, an alcoholic beverage that you purchased at one of the restaurants downtown with you. That would mean that if you're going to the Springer and you want to park somewhere where there's abundant parking, you could park by Vertigo on 12th. And as you walk out the door, you could purchase a glass of wine and sip that on your way to the Springer. You can't bring it into the Springer. You can't bring outside alcohol into another establishment. But you could enjoy one of our frozen cocktails right now, where we have a dragon fruit and grapefruit frozen margarita on tap that is just sublime. And I mean, it would be great if you could purchase that and then walk to the Springer or walk to the River Center. Mm-hmm. It's to the River Center, it's only about 4 blocks. To the Springer, it's only about 3. And right now the weather is glorious.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And how great would it be if you could, and that would put money in a local restaurant's pocket, because instead of rushing through your dinner and slamming down your wine or your cocktail so that you can get out the door, and now you can enjoy your cocktail and take the remainder of it with you, or maybe purchase one more.
Yeah. So how could individuals help in making that a thing?
Call your city council.
Okay.
Let them know, because that's where we're stuck.
Okay.
Is city council. Let them know that you would enjoy having an entertainment district in Uptown Columbus. Okay. So that the only time the open container isn't in effect is when when we're actually having a concert downtown.
Okay. So, and yeah, it doesn't have to specifically be when you're going to one of those places. You might just want to stroll Broadway and just listen to the music from the individuals playing, or just check out the shops. That would be great to be able to carry
also
that with you.
Too, on market days. I mean, I know it's stereotypical, but you see sometimes the mom, dragging dad along on market days to look at all the little trinkets and produce and things. How nice would it be if he could sip a locally made craft beer from one of the bars and sit on a bench and play with the kids while mom enjoys Marketplace, or be able to sample, cocktails, Bloody Mary, while you shop the market.
That would be so nice. I would want my mimosa. I would walk those streets with a little mimosa and check out the different vendors.
Yes, 100%. I mean, if we could just bring in a couple $100s a week because we have an open container, that would pay my water bill and my gas bill. Mm-hmm. Which would help tremendously, because right now in the restaurant industry, margins are so paper thin that there are things that we want to do, like sometimes give a gift certificate to the school PTA or whatever. But if I give somebody free food, we can't pay our light bill, because our margins, you've been to the grocery store.
Oh yeah. What
$20 used to buy doesn't buy anymore.
Oh no.
2 bags of groceries, a lot of people are walking out and it cost them $100, and they don't
plus.
Yeah, and they don't really even have a meal in the bag. Well, that isn't different for us.
Yeah.
Our grocery bill, some of our products are 3, 4, and 5 times what they were in 2019.
Wow.
And inflation is not 7%. I would say it's closer to 50 to 60%. And so if you don't want we're trying to keep you guys, we're holding on desperately, trying not to charge $40 for hamburgers because payroll's higher than it's ever been before. It is not a profitable industry. It's an industry we have a passion about. We love feeding people. We love entertaining people. We love the satisfaction of putting down a meal that's so comforting and so homey that people are just elated and want to come back for it. We're holding on. And if things continue the way they are, if people don't support the restaurants that they love, those restaurants won't be there tomorrow.
Wow. You just gave me absolute chills. So you guys, if you have ever been out, you have some pictures, you can do a review, do something. If you can't go out to eat there, go share whenever they make a post on social media. Get the word out and help to advertise your favorite businesses as well. Now, what about employees right now? I know everyone is struggling to maintain a great staff and a great culture amongst their staffs. Do you feel like you're having any trouble finding employees?
Yes, but our industry isn't alone. It doesn't matter whether you're local or, the corporate has a big advantage over us because they can offer benefits that we cannot. Mm-hmm. But what we can offer is a family, a place where you're understood and supported, and we work with you and try to be there for you. So it is definitely a different culture to work in a mom and pop versus a corporate, but even corporate restaurants are struggling for staff right now.
Yeah. Every industry is struggling.
Yes,
for
it
staff
doesn't matter
right now,
whether
sure.
you're a restaurant or you're a plumbing company. Mm-hmm. People have found other things, and there's some people are still living on money that they obtained during COVID, so they don't have to work, and so other people have the issue in the back of the house for most restaurants, whether it be corporate or the mom and pops, is that people who were really skilled in the restaurant industry, if the restaurant closed, in order to support themselves, those people had to find something, and they may have found something that pays a lot more. Or people who work in the back of the house are a different breed of animal.
Yeah.
They love what they do. They have a passion for cooking, mm-hmm. because you don't stand over a boiling vat of fryer fat, mm-hmm. in a 110-degree kitchen because you have nothing better to do with your time. You do that because you love the industry. You do that because you want to put out good food. You do that because you're feeding your family and putting, clothes on your children's back, doing something that you love.
Yeah.
But we put them in a situation where they had to find something, and some of them looked around and they were like, you know what? This is easier than standing over a boiling vat of fat in a 110-degree kitchen.
Yeah.
This pays more, or I have insurance now. And all of us, there is no mom and pop restaurant that doesn't want people to have a better life and make a livable wage. And we pay great at Smoke and Vertigo. Mm-hmm. We do pay a good wage. But the problem comes in is when we can't offer things like insurance and, paid vacations and things like that. It becomes very difficult to compete.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you keep on rolling with the people that are passionate, and you create that family, or you maintain that family that you currently have. Now, since you own 2 restaurants, are they staffed completely separately, or do you share employees amongst both places?
We tried to share employees amongst both places, but it didn't work, with staffing shortages and stuff. It just got to where it was, both restaurants needed a certain employee, and so it became very difficult to do that.
Okay.
On occasion, we do share an employee, but for the most part, both are staffed separately.
Okay. So if anyone is looking for an opportunity out there, stop by one of her locations. Now, what about your menu items? Now, would you mind sharing the story about your dill pickle dip?
Oh, yeah. The dill pickle dip. Everybody laughed at me when I wanted to put that on the menu. They said that sounded terrible. But I had the idea to do a dill pickle dip, and I started with U.S. Foods, and the sales rep for U.S. Foods introduced me to a man named James Alexander. Mm-hmm. James is a wounded warrior. He was injured and has a traumatic brain injury. And when he was in the hospital in Atlanta recovering, he knew that he was going to have to find something new to do. He decided he was going to start the Real Deal Dill Pickle Dip, or pickle company, which is wildly successful today. But he and I talked about this dip, and he designed for me a special relish. So people can try to recreate my pickle dip, but it can't be done. And before COVID, it was sold in some grocery stores in North Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina, Florida. Unfortunately, because a lot of those businesses closed down and some of them never reopened, we don't do that anymore. But it is unique. It's a cold dip served with 2 smoking hot, big fat, soft pretzels, and it's a hit.
It is absolutely amazing. If you are a pickle person, if you don't come in for anything else, come in for that. But I hope you come in and use that as your appetizer, and also feed yourself as well. Have a couple of drinks, do it all. But it is so good. Oh, it's so good. Do you have any other menu items on either of your menus that you specifically would like to talk about or share information about?
Well, I really hope that you'll come in and try the Pig Mac at Smoke. It is a barbecue sandwich topped with our creamy, delicious macaroni and cheese. So it's a pork and mac and cheese sandwich, and it is amazing.
I haven't tried that.
And of course, we have a huge collection of fabulous bourbons and whiskeys at Smoke, just a wall full of them. So there's a lot to choose from. If you're a bourbon drinker, come sip a glass of bourbon. Enjoy the outdoor seating that we have while the weather is so spectacular, and it's great. And then at Smoke, we're about to come out with our spring menu, and we've got some surprises on there. Some of the tacos from Vertigo Fusion Kitchen are coming back to Vertigo on 12th. And the main thing that people have been asking for a return of is that PB&J taco. So we are bringing back the PB&J taco.
Okay, what is a PB&J taco?
So it is chicken tossed in a Thai peanut sauce that we make from scratch. And then we top it with a pepper jelly and serve it as a taco.
Oh, that sounds absolutely amazing. I used to eat a hamburger that would have a peanut butter and a pepper jelly on it, and it was just so good. So this sounds right up my alley.
Yeah. We're really proud of our wings as well at Vertigo. We make all of our sauces except for 2 of them from scratch, and that includes our buffalo sauce. We make meat. We don't have a mild sauce. We think that if you're going to go for buffalo, you might as well go for buffalo.
Yeah.
So we do medium, hot, and so hot. And my boyfriend you cannot make anything hot enough for him. On the other side of the spectrum, I can eat 0 heat. I mean, I don't even want my food made in the same kitchen with Chili's. I'm so sensitive to heat. Really? So his favorite food is Asian. We know all the Asian chefs here in town and the restaurant owners, and it got to where we would go into one of the restaurants and they started calling us Niki No Hot and Patrick So Hot. So I named that sauce after him.
I love that. No hot and so hot. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any other just special message, any certain shout out, or anything that you want the community to know about you or your businesses here?
I think I want people to just know how important it is and how discouraging it is for local restaurant owners when, especially around the holidays, when our restaurants are virtually empty and we drive by Columbus Park Crossing or the Cracker Barrel or someplace like that, and you can see they're all on 2-hour waits. Mm-hmm. And you know that your food is made from scratch. It's not shipped in from a warehouse, and I understand why, because when you eat someplace like the Cracker Barrel, you want the Cracker Barrel in Tennessee to taste like the Cracker Barrel in Columbus, Georgia, to taste like the Cracker Barrel in North Carolina. You want them all to taste the same. And the way that they do that in corporate restaurants is they make that sauce somewhere, mm-hmm. or they make that dish somewhere, and then they ship it in, and their cooks warm that food up and use that. So there's definitely something to be said for the consistency versus, though, a local restaurant that makes that sauce in their kitchen from scratch every single day or once a week. Or we make our spaghetti sauce from scratch. We make our buffalo sauces from scratch. Yeah. They're not shipped from corporate headquarters. We're not dropping bags in boiling water and then spilling them out on plates. We are cooking your food for you. And it is being cooked by people who love food and love feeding people.
Now, with you saying that, it did make me think, what is your message to because I know that these days, the world post-COVID, as far as, I don't want to say customer service, but just in the way people are treating people in general, what do you have to say to those customers that feel like they might have to wait a little bit too long? They're getting testy, because I see a lot of that also. I see a lot of customers being rude to wait staff. I always tell them, we got to have grace. Give your people time. But do you have any message to those people?
It seems like there's a part of you that feels like COVID was a lifetime ago. Like mm-hmm. we lost 2 years of our lives. The cost of COVID, even beyond the lives that were lost, and is the change in society. It's very hard finding staff. I had one instance where we scheduled 10 interviews. My manager came in on her day off to do those interviews. One of those people showed up, and we hired her, and she quit on like her third day. Mm-hmm. She had made a significant amount of tips, but her response to the manager was, I love this place. I love you guys. I'm going to be a customer. The food is great. The drinks are great, but I don't want to work that hard for $400. And then on top of that, you add, customers who are rude. Look, at Smoke, somebody threw their food at me one time because we serve peppers and fried okra, mm-hmm. and they didn't feel like there was enough peppers in there, so they literally threw their food at me.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know. Like I said, I've only been in the food business now for a little over 6 years. I can't even comprehend what goes through a person's mind that would make them do that.
Yeah.
I do. Please have grace. Please understand that we're constantly having to rehire and retrain. And so the number of skilled workers that are in any restaurant, whether it's corporate or mom and pop or locally owned, is few and far between. Mm-hmm. So there's chances are that your server and the person that cooked your food has worked there less than a week.
Wow.
And when you walk into any restaurant and you see 10 open tables and they're telling you that there's a wait, it's because they don't have anybody to cook and serve your food.
Yeah.
It's not because they're lazy. It's not because they don't want to seat you. It's not because they're almost closed. Because my staff has the instruction is, if we close at 10 o'clock, you serve that customer that walks in, even if they walk in at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
We do it with a smile, and we do it with pride in what we serve.
But please try to get there by 9. Please get there by 9:15. Well, thank you so much for that answer, and especially thank you for touching on the if you see the empty tables, because even I, as much grace as I give, I always think, wow, really we have to wait? So I'm glad you touched on that. But yep, you guys, be kind, shop local, eat local, drink local. Tip your waitress. And Niki, thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Thank you for asking me.
All right, y'all. Until next time, this is Raven. I'll catch you later. Bye.